part of the fun of putting together a starship is picking your crew. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Toward the Stars, big round of applause.
Stars, and we're a first-person action game with emphasis on spaceship management and cooperation. So what we've been mostly working on this past few weeks is working on improving based on the textual-based feedback. So one of the first things that people would tell us is like, oh, you have an interesting system going on here, but it's kind of complicated, so we don't really get it, or that they're confused, or like there's not enough feedback. So really the three main points we're trying to address right now is providing new players with clear feedback, much like what Office is working on, having clarity in the design and consistency, so you don't like go into one room and say, hey, this thing works this way here, the other thing works a different way there, and just making sure that there's feedback for all the stuff that you're doing, which we're still working on. So we've been working on a lot of new stuff, improvements. One of the first things we're going to show you guys is the tutorial level being worked on by Byron and our newcomer, new members. So we'll head out to Byron to talk about the tutorial level.
The tutorial level is just kind of, yeah, something like Capone said, something that we put together just so we can introduce a lot of our game concepts and our controls to new players. It's like we have a lot of really complicated concepts that we wanted to not just throw new players into, so we built this so that they could learn all those things. And as a multiplayer game, this could be something that people could play as they're waiting for 4 people to show up so they can queue. And so currently we have it split up into these 3 branches: weapons, events, and ship systems. First we will go into the weapons branch. So weapons, very straightforward. It's just so it's just an introduction to all the kind of weapons that you have. We have the turrets, so you can deal with the outside forces, things like asteroids, enemy ships, that kind of stuff. We have 2 types of turrets: rapid fire turret, stressing targets, pretty easy task. Right click to zoom in, is great. And apart from these turrets, we also have the so apart from the turrets to deal with the outside forces, we also have a laser pistol to deal with the inside forces, which we can get to if you want through the door. Not door I'm reading. Lots of reading. There we go. So just shooting more targets, and this, is just something that you can use to refill your ammo. Just trying to introduce all these controls too. New players, that's where this is the teleporter. That's something that we actually have in our game. No. Okay, so next up is the events. It's actually an event. That's an event and more of a introduction to fire. Lots of fire. Trying to put out fire, and then how to deal with the objective system that we have put in, and trying out different kinds of equipment that we have that the player can use so that they can get accustomed to all those things. So this is also introducing all the medical things like healing, the healing spray, the med bay, but he's already at full health, so he was headed to the teleporter again from last room. And then finally we have a ship system, which is introducing a lot of our core concept things like the energy, our reactors, our engines, all that kind of stuff to so really have it so that our ship is moving and heading towards our final destination, things like that. And this will also introduce how all the different pieces of ship equipment interact with each other, as well as how to fix any kinds of ship equipment if you so need to. And that's basically all we have for the tutorial level for now. We're tweaking things just so we can get everything nice and complete, as well as adding a little bit of polish here and there. But that's basically how it's going to go down for the most part. And that's my
actual game next fall you're featuring start that up. A lot of this semester has been adding in a lot of content as well as polishing. So one thing that we did was add in our second character. The goal is to have 4 characters. One is being modeled, not shown just yet, but our cute robot Marty is someone you can now play with, and I'll show him to you. There he is. Alright, so there he is. He's very adorable. So Marty, who is being really derpy right now for whatever reason, is a refurbished robot. He's someone that our crew found along in their travels and decided to fix him up. He's a little bit buggy sometimes, says a little bit weird things, but the fun thing about Marty is we're looking at the idea of stickers, and we want him to have one hat for always, and that maybe buttons on that as well. So if you wanted to just litter, let's say you really like, I don't know, Pokemon. I mean, you can have more Pokemon, but like, if you want to litter him with some sort of sticker, you can do that and make him as adorable or deadly as you want. In terms of our ship revamp, you two are already doing about that.
So one of the biggest things we did this semester was like basically putting more stuff into the ship to make it feel more like a home. Like in our previous semester, the ship was a very sterile, also almost hospital-like environment. But like this is also where like all of our characters live, so we wanted to portray that. So we introduced like more assets. We have kitchen assets and living room assets, so it does feel more like it's a lived-in space. Additionally, we have more windows in like everywhere in the ship, so it has a more like open concept with like clear sight lines. So it's easy for you as a player to like distinguish different rooms because you can see right into them. It's also good for seeing hazards. Additionally, to help distinguish rooms, we have different lighting colors for different areas of the ship. And this is just to help the player orient themselves better and understand where they are and where they're going and give basically a better feel. So I'm going to hand it off to Poe, and he's going to talk about the objectives and minimap.
Alright, so one of the big problems for the players is that they don't know what they need to be doing on the ship, since the events sometimes come out of outside of the spaceship, sometimes their enemies being teleported onto the ship from within. So what we have added is the objective system, which kind of lets you know what's going on. So we have the main task of like, we right now need to fly through an asteroid field to get to our destination. At the same time, it also lets you know if anything else happens, such as fires and low oxygen or whatever the player is down. And if we bring out the mini-map, so we also have been working on improving the mini-map so it'll help the players orient themselves. Right now, a lot of the icons, mostly we got the functionality engineering-wise on this, but we're still working on the new icons and legends and stuff like that. But like, anyone know which size starboard is for ships?
Right.
Alright, who doesn't know? Alright, Kenneth doesn't know. Thank you for playing along with it. So to make things easier, we just label stuff with east and west, north and south, so that, half the time I'm wondering where the hell is like port or starboard or wherever. And in any case, so those are some of the improvements that we're doing so that the players can more easily find their way around the ship, aside from what you just talked about. And then pass back to Amber to talk about what we'll be working on for later.
So we're not really talking about them too much, but there are a lot of small nuances that we've added to the game to help polish it off. We had a few bumps in terms of our pipeline and leak mishaps, but we've been trying really hard to move past that, add particles, little just things here and there, like all the furniture and the lighting effects, to make the game seem more approachable and, again, lived in, as Miju mentioned. Moving forward, we are actually partnering up with the drama school. They're doing casting for us right now, and we're going to deal with voiceover. So the tutorial level that Byron showed, if it is easier, we will playtest that and see what is better for players, whether it's an icon, a voiceover, or perhaps both in this hologram tutorial system. And that way, also in like Left 4 Dead or games like that where you have just fun little dialogue that goes back and forth. Let's say engineer needs something repaired, he can say, hey, you kids, what are you doing? I need this to happen. So we're going to just basically bring the game to the next level in terms of adding voices and moving along a lot with art, which
So on the art front, we're basically moving away from like concepting, which was like the first half of this semester and over winter break. And now we're moving into more like particle effects as well as like getting more 3D assets in and like retexturing. The nice thing is that because we have a ship base, like we only need to retexture that. But everything else is now like moving away from like getting ideas in and now just implementing the like the concepts and the ideas we have and getting them in games. So pretty much from here until the end, we're like hoping to basically get more special effects in, like more like particle effects to help bring the game like up in its polish, or at least make it more interesting for you, as well as get additional characters in, and definitely like retexturing is like our biggest priority at the moment. So that's on the art front.
And that's pretty much where we are compared to last semester, so we're towards the stars.
Okay, questions for the team?
Audio.
It's there. Did we not plug in the audio cable?
Thanks.
So we do have like sound, like energetic sound, such as in the reactor, you would hear the reactor sound, or the refrigerator, you would hear it. So that, aside from the lighting or
All right.
thank you.
We have audio.
Put some machine guns in your ship.
Well done.
Why are we getting so tiny?
Aliens be gone spray.
No audio.
I want to talk, it's so loud. I'll just talk. So, something that we are working on in terms of design and lore is it used to be our ship, things are moving around the ship, but it doesn't look like it. If you stare out a window for like 5 minutes, you can see, but it doesn't really show that you're traveling. So, we went back, took a few steps, and looked at our overall level design, and the idea that we're making now, that we want to get by May, is that you actually start off at Earth and you go explore the universe. You happen to scan a planet after finding a random asteroid field, and it turns out this planet is a hideaway for pirates. Oops, for that. And that's why they're trying to kill you, because you're going to tell someone, and who knows, they probably have lots of treasures that they don't want to steal. So just to add a little bit more of a background and feel as to why you're even in this situation that you are in. We're also working on the lobby and getting in, like Left 4 Dead, for example, on the Steam, you can invite your friends. So that type of thing. Whereas if you want to invite your friends that are online and be like, hey, I need an engineer, so you better get on a computer. I don't care. But get in there. It's something that we've been working on the whole semester. It's not something we thought was well enough along to show for the but it's something that's done as well as the chat. So you can smash talk, as Felicity was mentioning. Good old cooperation in terms of insulting each other. Yes. Do you have any questions while this fun sound effect happens? Yes.
All for a second, actually.
Can we get some feedback on the fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't realize, like we don't realize it's out until it's out. I mean, are you coordinating that with like sound?
So pretty much so far what we've been doing is working on the new features and news that we should be visualized by now. So after this, we're mostly going to be tweaking everything one by one. So like the laser, the fire extinguisher, having stuff that we've been using to big, just haven't gotten around to it yet.
The same thing with the like, fixed and stuff, like just like hey, like not just that you look at it and see that it's done, but
Yeah,
there's a sound.
so-
I like your ping sound, like
That's pretty much the same thing. Our animator was working on the robot's animation instead, so he hasn't gone back to fix the linear motion. So
We are looking more into sounds. I know you mentioned sounds. We
that,
have
it wasn't much of the motion, just the feedback of
Yeah,
this
exactly.
task is complete.
So, audio feedback is something that we have talked about a little bit and are looking into. We have sound designers on the team who are going to help us out with that. They're doing music at the moment. We're meeting with them next week. But that's something we're looking into, so we'll definitely consider it.
So will there be like an audio sound and a visual, just something that lets you know that a task is complete.
Depends on player feedback in terms of what works best with our game. Because if we have a lot of, let's say, dialogue happening or just character dialogue, then you might not actually excuse me, hear an audio thing. That'll probably do a visual. It kind of just depends on what is going to work best with players and playtesting. On with it.
Seems like there was a lack of UI with any kind of ammo, anything, like the current charge with the lasers. That didn't really communicate a whole lot. Whereas if you added color or something to indicate that you were running low on ammunition or something like that, because white text is not nearly as compelling as missiles coming at me,
Right.
and I'm much more likely to look at that.
You're absolutely correct. And our UI is also currently being redone by Brad. So yeah, it's just that the midterms are really weird time for us because a lot of stuff are coming in afterwards. So we'll
And we
give
got
us.
some really beautiful textures like an hour before midterm.
What's up with you guys?
Yeah. Thanks for the feedback though. It's
Yeah.
something we're being addressing.
It's definitely a good idea because we've been trying to mess around with different UIs and go through different passes and probably best. So it's a good idea.
You mentioned you were working on music. Last time there was sort of like just kind of one track that made sense and kind of fit the game that would go up sort of throughout the game. Are you planning on having that same kind of thing, or will it change depending on what's going on? What's
We'd like it for it to change, but right now I think we need to get audio a lot more than getting vocal tracks. So it's really up to our sound designers.
Just now you mentioned the thought of creating a mechanic by which you can recruit players for specific missions. Is that something that you wanted to do in a chat room context, or something that you wanted to do during the actual missions, like it's part of an ongoing mission? And is that a tangible goal that you want to implement by in time for final?
Not a goal for final. The lobby system is just to go into the same game, not to recruit a specific type of players.
It'd be more like, let's say, if I have a friend who is really good at being an engineer, and I want her to play with me, we're like, hey, we should be in. Rather than specifically looking for characters, it's more like if you knew a friend that